guys. Sorry if this lighting is aggressive. It's this light that Jake has and it's dark, and I thought that it would help, but it kind of makes me look a little spooky. Anyways, so I'm here today to do a wrap up of some books that I've read. This is way overdue because these are books that I read in March and we're now in May. I think that's right. Yeah, so I need to I need to film this ASAP. All right, so it's books 16 through 20, I believe, but now I've already forgotten. Let me double check. What did I say? 19 through 20? 16 through 20. So the 16th book that I read this year is Something New by Lucy Knisley, and I was gifted this by Marty for my birthday since I am getting married in February. And so she thought it would be a cute fun thing to read, and it was a very cute fun thing to read. I loved this so much. This is the first one of her books that I've read, but she is a graphic memoirist, and it's just honestly, I should just go and buy all the rest of her books like immediately because this was so good. She's so fun and cute, and her illustrations are wonderful, and she talks a lot about what it was like to actually get married. Here's her trying on some dresses. But I think that might be, I forget. No, yeah, that's right. And then she has like stuff like this that I just thought was so cute. And she has a lot of she's obviously a very artistic person and very crafty, so she did a bunch of craft things for her wedding, and I'm definitely going to try to replicate one of them that I really, really enjoyed. But yeah, this was just a cute, fun, her journey getting married. I hope I'm not talking too loud. Jake's in a meeting next door. I don't think so, but anyways, yeah, so this was a really cute. The next book that I read is Blindness by Jose Saramago, and this is translated by Giovanni Pontiero from Portuguese. And this book, let me tell you, I read this book for Yemeni's book club that we have on Voxer, and I mean, we read this in March, and it was like just kind of when the coronavirus thing was starting to be a thing, but it wasn't like as intense as it is now. Although I feel like we've kind of like peaked and everyone's just jaded at this point, which is not good. But this was kind of like when we read this when things were really ramping up, and wow. I don't know if that's the best time. Actually, whatever. It's all the best time to read whatever you want. But this book blew my mind. It was so good. I will say, like, just before I talk about the actual book, I want to say that I had been put off of reading this for a long time. I did not want to read this. I got this secondhand, if you couldn't tell, and I just was putting it off. And mostly it's because if you look at the pages, like, look at that. Look at how dense those lines are. There are no page, like, there, it's just word after word after word. So I was extremely intimidated because to me that sounds like a book that's going to be really taxing, really difficult to read, something that you really have to pay attention to in order to like get like a on the road or something like that. But complete opposite. Just such an easy reading experience. There are no like quotes. I know some people get like really uptight when there's no punctuation in quotes and when it's not like, quote, blah, 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 quote, he said, quote, blah, 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 quote, she said. People get really upset by that, which makes no sense to me. But none of that is in here. It's just dialogue, and you kind of have to figure out who's saying what. And I found that to be really compelling, and it really like drove the narrative because you didn't really have time to stop to think because you just like had to keep going. So with regards to the style of the writing, I thought that it worked fantastically, and I thought that it was really, really well written and well translated, of course. And I want to read all of his books from now on, like all of them. This story is dark, though, with regards to the actual plot of the book. We start off with one man who basically goes blind while he's at a stoplight, and then, the people around him start to go blind. And so it's kind of like this virus that is infecting people and causing blindness. And let me tell you, it's bad how people treat each other. They start off by quarantining this group of people because kind of like the coronavirus, like, people think that that you can just like section off these people and then everything's going to be fine, but like it's too late. It's too late because you spread the virus or whatever it is um before, or not before, yeah, you spread it before you know that you have it, so it's kind of like, you know it's hard, it's difficult. So um yeah, so we mostly are following this group of people that are put into this like guarded, gated community, and it just kind of devolves, and it shows how terrible people can be when fear is involved. There is definitely sexual violence towards women in this book, so if that's something that puts you off, don't read it. But that's I I understand that it's upsetting to read that, but I mean, I think it's realistic, unfortunately, which is probably why it's upsetting to read it to some people. But yeah, I found this book to be extremely compelling, extremely well written. I at first did not appreciate the ending very much, and I'm not going to talk about the ending, obviously, because you need to read the book. So if you have read the book and you want to talk to me about it, I feel like because of this light, you can't even read the guy's name. I would love to talk to you about it. If you've read it and have thoughts. In a retrospect and like after thinking about it, I do actually enjoy the ending. I think it's quite funny. But I'm not going to say anything besides that. I will say that if you're the type of person that needs explanations or again clarity, you're not getting any of that in this book. This book is very just you have to do the work. Like you have to really go for it. But yeah, it's just really it's unbelievable how it's just people are terrible, unfortunately, and people that think that there are no repercussions for their actions, I think act in really terrible ways because, I mean, part of this is the fact that everyone is blind, or not everyone, but everyone in this like community is blind, and so there's no repercussions because no one can see you and no one can like call you out and say that you're a bad person because no one knows who you are. And I think that's a really interesting, like that in and of itself is, I think, very interesting, besides the fact that when people are afraid of like this virus and stuff, that they act in obscene ways. I think that also allows a lot of like socially acceptable what's the right word, there are a lot of things that keep maybe some bad people from doing bad things because they don't want to be viewed as bad people. So there's, doing good because it makes you feel good, and there's doing good because you don't want to look bad. And when no one can see you, you can do whatever you want, and it doesn't matter because no one can call you out. I mean, they can because they can hear you, but it's not the same. And I think it's really interesting because with the internet and like even with road rage and all that kind of stuff, like people have these barriers and they're able to hide behind things because no one can see them. And I just think this book is super interesting, and I absolutely loved it, and I am excited to read the sequel eventually. I don't think that I own it. I own Death with Interruptions, but not the sequel to that. Anyways, thankfully I don't have a lot much more to say about these other books. So the next one that I finished was the Uninhabitable Earth by David Wallace Wells, which I already talked about in my book booktube prize wrap up for round one. What is wrong with my mouth and my brain? They're not connecting properly. I will have a time-stamped link for when I talk about this book down below, but since that round is over, I can just say I loved this book. 4 or 4.5, I forget. Must read. I think it is so good. So good. The next book that I finished is Lullaby by Layla Slimani, and this is translated by Sam Taylor. Look at that. They put the translator right on the cover. What a concept. Ow. Oh, my hip. Oh, gosh. Sorry, guys. Oof. I'm trying to, like, exercise and stuff, and my body is sad. So this is that classic book that everyone read like 2 years ago or something when it came out, about the nanny that kills the 2 kids. And spoiler alert, that's not a spoiler alert because the first sentence is that the nanny killed the kids. So yeah, it was good. I'm not mad that I read it. It just wasn't anything like particularly special, I guess. It's very quiet. We're following this woman that is the babysitter and her relationship with the children and the parents of the children. Basically, the mom, like, after she had her second kid, was like, I want to be working. I don't want to be stuck with these children all day. So they decided to hire a nanny so that she could go back to work. And it's interesting. It's kind of, the nanny is. I again, this is not the type of book to read if you need answers to things, because there's not a single friggin' answer in this book. Okay, I have no idea why she did it, no idea, and I read the book. I know that she is a disturbed woman, and that I don't want to say is manipulative, but I'm sure some aspects of it are manipulation, because yeah, they are. Her interactions with the children, I feel like, especially are, and with the wife, or the mom. Um, but it's kind of like one of those things where, everything seems fine and everything seems great, and then, like, it slowly kind of starts to get kind of weird, but you're like, oh, am I, like, misunderstanding something? Um, Almost kind of like how a lot of sexual violence happens towards women, where women, are thinking that everything's fine, and then they let, like, something slide, and then the man thinks, like, oh, that means that I can do more. The nanny almost kind of does that, where she, like, is not particularly, she seems very kind and generous and loving, and she's there and she does everything. She's the perfect nanny. She, like, cooks and cleans, which is not the nanny's responsibility, but she does all of it, and she's really good at being a hostess and all this stuff. And then you just notice that things are kind of off, but you let it slide, and then she starts doing more and more wackadoodle things. Um, and then she kills your children. So, this makes me not want to have children, because I don't ever want them out of my sight, because I might have a wackadoodle nanny. Just kidding, kind of. Yeah, I would recommend this if you like, uh, you know, slow burning thrillers that don't really have a lot that happens. um, but if you're like, if you need the action and you need the answers and you need them to say, like, oh, here's the twist and this is why she did it, then don't read this book, because it's not for you. And then book number, I think this is 20, was The Heartbeat of a Wounded Knee by David Truer. And again, I read this for the BookTube Prize, so I already talked about it, so I will link my time-stamped video talking about it below. Also, in my opinion, a must-read. I'm looking forward to rereading this. Probably, oh my gosh, my cats. I forgot that my cats, they chomped a little bit. I mean, actually, I think it was more of a nail situation, because there's a few scratches. Anyways, this lighting is making you not be able to see any nuances in my pages. Yes, this was a must-read. Absolutely phenomenal. It's just so good. I'm, again, really pleased with the books that I got for the first round of BookTube Prize. I'm not going to say how I feel about them my current round, because I'm reading them still, but you'll find out eventually. Anyways, so those are the books 16 through 20 that I read this year. If you have read them, if you would like to say anything about them, if you have any questions, please let me know. I am going to link, I feel like I haven't been mentioning this, but I'm going to link, like I mentioned, the specific timestamps for the reviews of the books that I have reviewed in separate videos. But I'm trying to leave links to bookshop.org or IndieBound, whichever is applicable for the book. I always go to bookshop.org first, but it's really important to support local bookstores during this horrible time. So please, if you're going to spend money on books, do not give your money to Amazon. They will be fine. Please go to bookshop.org. It is a little bit more expensive, but an extra couple of dollars is not that big of a deal in the long run. So yes, I will talk to you guys later. Again, let me know if you've read any of these things, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.